One of the best career investments you can make in yourself is developing your expert power. Expert power is having a unique skill set that other people value. If you have expert power, people come to you and get your opinion. You are more valued in an organization. And if you have expert power, people tend to want you on their team and they tend to value your opinion and you get more weigh in on decisions. I have a funny example of an accidental expert power that I developed, and it changed the course of my career. So back in the day in college, I went to Emory University. I had an internship in the study abroad office. Basically, in this internship, I would talk to students about studying abroad because I had studied abroad myself. I organized pamphlets. I opened mail. I manned the study abroad table. I organized the office. I got people coffee. Stuff that typical interns do. At the time, Facebook had just come online. It was like kind of the new cool thing. Social media was like just happening. I'm aging myself, I know. And I said to my boss, hey, we should have a Facebook page for the Emory Study Abroad office. And she was like, what's Facebook? And I was like, oh, interesting. Because at the time, all the students in the school were coming onto Facebook. So I explained what Facebook was. And I was not that much of an expert, but because it was so new and I was already on it, I was an early adopter, I kind of knew the basics. And she's like, great. If students are on it, we should be on it too. I said, okay. She's like, well, can you create the page for us? I was like, I think so. Like, I need a picture. And she's like, just take a picture of the office and just, make the page. So I did some research. I practiced a little bit and I figured out how to create a Facebook page. This was very advanced at the time. I know it sounds really obvious now, but it was really advanced at the time. And I started taking pictures of students going abroad. I asked students to send their pictures of going abroad. I posted them on the Facebook page and I started inviting all the sophomores because they really wanted sophomores to apply for study abroad their junior year. I started inviting students and there started to be a lot of buzz on the Facebook page. Also, people started submitting questions. Very quickly, the Facebook page became the number one way that students were reaching out to us. And I was the only person in the office who ran the page, who knew the page, and who had some technological expertise. This completely changed my internship. One is I no longer had to get coffee. Two is I no longer had to organize pamphlets. All I did in my internship was come and work on the Facebook page, which I loved. Like it was so fun and interesting. And in meetings, my boss started to invite me to team meetings to discuss what was happening on the Facebook page. This completely changed my internship because it made my day better. But also all of a sudden, I was being asked questions about programs, questions about marketing, questions about strategy. In a way, I had developed this expert power as being a social media expert. You can do this too. And I want to talk about in this video how you can develop your expert power. First choice, you can develop skills or talents directly related to your job. So for example, if in your company you use a customer relationship management software or an LMS, a learning management system, you could take extra training or learn that software really well. So people come to you when they have questions about that software. You become a super user of that software. That's a skill directly related to your job. Or you could get a certification in a technical skill or a graphic design skill, something that you are directly using on the job, really leveling up that skill and becoming advanced, becoming a power user of that skill. That is the best way to develop expert power. A skill that's directly related to your job is only going to help you stand out on a team. Your boss is going to notice. It's going to help in your performance review. You could even ask your boss, I really want to level up my skills. I really want to develop my expert power. What area would you like me to level up my skills in? Is there an area that you think would be particularly helpful for me to level up in? For example, one of our team members, Carolyn, she's editing this video. She came in and she was not editing our videos in the beginning. And I found that she had this passion, this talent for video editing. I was like, we have so many videos to edit. Can we develop that as your expert power? Can you practice with our videos so you can learn that skill even more? She was like, yes. I was like, yes. It was a huge win for me and a huge win for her. I hope it was a huge win for her because we developed that expert power on the job. It was directly related to what we're doing. And it is so helpful. Second, another type of expert power you could do is developing insider knowledge about your niche, industry, or brand. Here's a great example. So recently I went to Disneyland and we were talking to one of the Disney employees, and this employee had an insane knowledge of Disney history, Disney facts, Disney trivia. And we ended up talking to him for like a half an hour because he just had such interesting things about Disney history and Disney facts. His expert power, and he said, all of his team members always come to him when they have Disney related questions, was developing a very deep knowledge of the brand. So could you learn about your brand's history or your brand's core values? Or could you develop an expert power knowing about your industry? The other A side of this is you could develop expert power with knowledge of your competitors. This happens a lot when an employee or a team member comes from a competitor's company. They come with an innate expert power because they know a lot about their competitor's company, and then people can come to them and say, hey, what'd you do at that competitor's company? So that's also a way that you can gain expert power, is stay in your industry but change companies or learn about that competitor so that you have a really good knowledge of what else is happening in your industry. This would also be keeping up on industry news, reading industry related reports, being the first to share those reports on your social media or internally. If you are a sharer of industry news, this puts you in a position of expert power. Third, this is the most overlooked way to have expert power: people power. One aspect of being an expert is being a master communicator. Expert power can come from knowledge of a skill or a talent or a software, but expert power can also come with soft skills. If you're incredibly good at engaging people, really good at delivering bad news, really good at calming conflicts, really good at speed reading clients' faces, really good at closing, really good at sales, really good at negotiations, really good at presenting and pitching, really good on stage, really good at trade shows. Those are all soft skills that are highly valuable. So think about, is there a soft skill, a communication skill, a people skill that would be very valuable in your role? Develop that soft skill. So my entire mission is to help you get expert power with people. I have a masterclass called People School. It's completely virtual, where my entire goal is to teach you as a high achieving professional how to have advanced communication. You will leave People School having excellent communication abilities, being a master conversationalist, knowing the dynamics of a team, knowing how to read people, knowing how to pitch yourself and ideas, knowing how to have memorable presence, even help on sales and closing and interacting with VIPs. So that is an expert power you can develop. I would love to help you with it. Or you can just, if you already have a natural talent for that, you can begin to hone that as an expert power. Share that's an area that you are very strong in. Your fourth option for developing expert power is related and helpful, but not direct. So for example, my husband used to work at a bank. So now he works at Science of People with me, but he used to work at a bank, and he is an expert in finding travel deals. He used to call himself a travel hacker. He was just so good at finding really cheap flights, using points to pay for flights. He's just very good at like flights and points and credit cards. This was not directly related to his job at all, but everyone at his work was always traveling. And so as he began to talk about his cheap flights, people started to come to him at lunch, after work, and say, hey, I have this flight that I'm going to New York. Do you think you can help me, find the best way to get this flight? And he loves it. So he'd be like, yeah, let's go out to lunch and buy me lunch, and I'll get you a really cheap flight to New York. This was so great because it helped him build connections and relationships around the office. It got him a lot of free lunches and a lot of free coffees. And he also loved to do it. So is there a expert area that is related to what you do, or people in your office or on your team would appreciate it? This could be cooking skills. It could be parenting skills. It could be travel skills. It could be gift giving skills. It could be knowing the best restaurants for lunch, right? Like, this is actually, someone told me that they are so good at knowing which restaurants have the best takeout at what times, and that everyone always comes to them for lunch ideas. Hey, it matters. Could it be cross-cultural competence, that maybe you grew up in a different culture or you speak multiple languages, that people could come to you if you have a company that's reaching out to people across cultures? Cross-cultural competence is an expert power. Could it be IT or cybersecurity? You're exceptionally good at understanding the web, understanding programming, that you're an amateur programmer. Could that be your expert power? Okay, the last one, and this is, I go from favorite to least favorite. I like this one, but it's not as powerful as the other ones, but it's still pretty good. The fifth option is fun and interesting. So people also like people who delight and surprise them. So could you be the best meme getter in your office? Could you be the best GIF poster in your office? Could you always post great jokes and funny things on Slack? Do you have a great knowledge of The Office or a popular TV show? Are you an expert movie reviewer where you've seen every movie and you can help people find the perfect movie? Are you an expert book recommendation giver? For example, my side passion, a career I've always wanted, is finding people's book soulmates. Like, I would love to be a librarian if I wasn't on YouTube, where I would just want to find someone's favorite book. Like, that's a kind of weird expert power I have. So all my friends, whenever they're looking for book recommendations, they always text me, and I love it. I love giving book recommendations. Another example of a fun expert power is pop culture. Do you have an amazing knowledge of reality TV or singers or the latest music or concerts in the area? That's all fun and interesting interesting expert power. Another funny expert power that I experienced at one of my early jobs was was an amateur palm reader. And at lunch, she would read people's palms. People loved having lunch with her. She got a ton of free lunches and she learned some very interesting tidbits about people. All this to say, I want you to think about how you can develop your expert power. I'm actually doing a free training on how to be indispensable at work. And we're going to be talking about all these tips for expert power and more. I would love for you to sign up at sciencepeople.com/indispensable. It is a free training. I'm going to be really working on how do you level up your competence? How do you become indispensable and influential at work? How do you develop more of your expert power? If you like this video, please sign up for that free training. I would love to teach you how you can make sure that you are the person that people want on their team.